bunch of failed stuff.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
About a half hour late, but here we go.
That's all right. So anyway, so this time we're going to be watching this is a lost film of the Three Stooges.
It's actually pre-Three Stooges. It's Ted. It says Three Stooges down here, but it's actually Ted Healy and his Stooges, which predates the Three Stooges. He worked with them in vaudeville. He got these three guys in vaudeville, and they hated him because he hit them for real. When they eventually did the Three Stooges, they worked out a way where they wouldn't get hurt, but he didn't care. He was a mean bastard.
Oh, but this is the third Three Stooges movie.
This is the third Ted Healy and his Stooges movie.
And so, is this before or after the musical one?
It's way before. After they left Ted Healy, they said we're not going to actually get hit with saws anymore, and they left MGM. They went to Columbia to make all those famous 25 years of Three Stooges shorts, which is famously the Lady with the Torch and the Three Blind Mice theme song.
So this is the MGM ones. This is before the Three Blind Mice,
right? Before the Three Blind Mice, and they're not even billed as the Three Stooges. They're billed as Howard Fine and Howard.
Oh, interesting.
So it's Ted Healy and his Stooges is what they used to be in vaudeville, but here it's Ted Healy.
But it is a true Larry Moe curling, which is good.
Yes.
Later on, they decided to, there's some issues. So there's a number of other interesting things about this. Is that this is an early sort of Technicolor movie, and most people sort of think that the timeline of film went the silence, black and white, then you had talkies, and then you had color after that. But that's not the correct timeline. It was there were many silent color movies, and
they were very expensive to do.
Well, the first sort of real color movie, if you will, was a cartoon.
Yeah. Because
you could draw the cartoon and show it, right? And then in the 1890s and early 1900s, you would have hand tinting of it. So they would take those things and they tint things by hand. And then by the time the early 1910s came around, there was something called bicolor. And so, of course, in our eyes we have red, green, and blue, but the technology at the time, you had to choose two colors, and you can have all three. And so basically they would selectively choose palettes, and then you'd be able to get a range of colors, but not all of them. And so you could find movies at the time where they'd be inside, and then inside you couldn't see any blues. But then once you go outside, all of a sudden you can see blues, but you can't see any greens. And that was just the technology up to about the mid-1930s. And again, there's lots of interesting silent movies of the time. I was watching a few yesterday, and it's you get used to it after a while, and it's the color that they had. Another interesting thing is we can talk about a lost movie, and so it sounds kind of silly that you have a movie that you then distribute to a bunch of different theaters, and somehow you lose all the copies of it.
Well, in this one particular one, I think
they found it in Australia.
They found it in Australia, but they had asked for these to be destroyed. They were finished with it. They said destroy it, and sometimes they used to offer them back to the star or the producer, but they'd have to pay for it. They'd say, this was $10,000. They got just destroy it. This was, and it was odd even that a short was done in color because it was so expensive. They did 3 shorts with Ted Healy and the Stooges, and this is the only one in color.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the late 20s, people complained about color in the same way that they complained about sound, as if the color would take over the experience of the film, and then people would see all these gaudy colors on there, and then lose themselves to the story. Like Mary Pickford actually had that same complaint.
They were absolutists. That film is visual only.
Yeah, you can have I'm surprised that in Sunset Boulevard, and then they had color. Can you believe it? But
and they also used to, when they did, not in this one, but when they first did color movies, they made sure there was a lot of color in it. So if they were picking red, there was plenty of red. If they were picking blue, there was plenty of blue.
Yes, and they would really sort of do that. And then when it got to full color, that's when you had some of the early westerns and some of those
musicals, the big musicals,
and a lot of the movies where you had like some war scenes, and then you had one side of the battle had these bright green and blue outfits with all these like very colorful flags, and and you could tell them because they looked like that they were
candy. if they were going to do color, they were going to do
cereal.
Color.
Yeah. And so let's go back to lost films. And so there was not a lot of value of the films after they were shown.
There was no syndication. There was no television. There was no video. Obviously, you showed it in the theater, and then it's over.
And so there's a question in my mind, and it's really hard for me to assess. Is that could you say that more like when you're talking about films before like 1930, like 90% of them are considered lost, and even the ones that are maybe found, they're in such bad condition that they just turn to dust when you
almost all the silent movies are lost. For as many silent movies as people think there are, almost all of them are gone.
Right, and so I mean, the question is like maybe those are just trash movies. I don't know.
They were terrible.
The first Marx Brothers movie is lost. They made a silent one in 1921.
I'll say She Is. Was that what it was called?
No, it was a parody of
something Diabolesque. Was he called Diabolesque?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And so there was basically the big blockbuster movie of 1920.
Yeah.
And then it was called Humoresque. Yeah. And then it was called Humoresque was the 1921, and there's a lot of stories about that one, and supposedly like they destroyed it because they were so unhappy with it.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting because
no one ever found that. That's 100 years.
It's because the Marx Brothers they have such sort of verbalness to their comedy. I can't imagine them in a silent media.
Yeah.
I don't. They'd have to just be fundamentally different.
I wonder if it was even in those characters. Harpo might have been the same, but I don't know if Chico's accent would have worked, or if Groucho's anti-establishment attitude could have worked.
They didn't make another movie till Coconuts 8 years later.
Yeah.
And so it's not like they just went right back at it. They took an 8-year short hiatus. So it's kind of interesting. Anyways,
so let's see what this is. This is and
this was found in 2011.
So it was missing for 80 years.
Right. So that's it. So let's see if we can actually reliably start it up this time. This is going to be.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's always it
might go something like this.
Let's see what happens. It's just that I get it playing, and then once I get. Oh gosh. Yeah, see, I can't reconnect, so we have to figure out how to do this next time. In fact, I think that what we need to do is like maybe have some dialogue that we can fill in for this part right here. It's called Hello Pop. All right, so it's Hello Pop.
Is it 1930 or something?
It's like 32. This is Lord, and then I just do Three Stooges. Here it is. So, you think that you have seen all of the Three Stooges, although this is one that you haven't seen.
I have not seen this one.
Oh gosh, it is not like...
It's not working?
Oh, hold on. Because application programmers don't know how to do programming these days. They don't actually test anything. They just sort of assume that things work. So I have to crash the application and start it back up again. And
why didn't the screen go blank? In a separate thing, why didn't the screen go blank?
There's lots of bugs. And so, I don't know. The world sucks these days. I don't know what to tell you. Oh gosh, it just says reconnecting.
All right, can we try the other one?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Do you want to shut this off and turn it?
Yeah, we could do that. We could try that. It's just so crazy. It's just so crazy.
But everyone's standing by. Are many?
No.
Am I doing this now?
Yeah. Please hold. Okay, just hold. Isn't this just wild?
Hundreds of millions of viewers.
So.
Okay, this is going to take a minute. There we go. All right.
Okay, so. Wait, is that how it starts up?
Yeah, that's correct. That's the screensaver.
Okay, so that's that part. And then let's see if I can just do this thing. And then hopefully this is going to work without just saying reconnecting.
It's 9:46 on the radio dial.
No, it's crazy.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. It's wild. I'll blame it on the Chinese. Okay. So, oh dear. So, I believe that we should still talk about this. Okay, so yeah.
See,
it's 1933.
Howard Fine and Howard, I don't know who both.
Howard and Bonnie, and Alberta.
No, it's Howard Fine and Howard and Bonnie.
Interesting.
So they're not really the Three Stooges yet.
Fantastic. Yeah, and they don't have the same scent. And notice the colors here. So you're getting a greenish, and a white. But let's see if you're actually going to get a
kind of a red. But that's it. It looks like
you're not getting reds. You're not getting reds.
Hey, you!
Look at the faces.
Yeah.
That's severely, by the way.
So you get oranges. Yeah, so you're getting oranges, but you're not getting reds.
And there's no blue.
Yeah, there's no blue. Now that could change while from another scene. And now
here we go.
There's still a lot of damage, so it hasn't been restored yet.
Yeah. What do you want here? Mama went to play bridge. Yeah, that's what she said. That same man was. Come on, never mind that. Come on. Don't hit me.
The sound effects are the same from the later Stooges speech.
Children, listen to me, will you please? This is Papa's show. This is my bread and butter, children. This is my bread and butter, children. What? No gravy? I'll get gravy. I'll get gravy. Profi, come here. Take care of these children. Keep them off the stage, and if I see them on the stage, you're fired.
It's
orange and
yeah, so you can see how like it just it is color, but
yeah.
It's not all of the color.
Yeah, it's missing something.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell what they have. It seems like oranges and maybe grays. There's no purple. There's no blue at all.
Well, that's
yellow.
Well, that's the thing is that you are able to choose the palettes because basically it was there's some kind of like electrostatic joining of two different reels, and then you have different color filters on each one, and so you can choose the filters for the combination.
We're under Venetian costumes. The Venetian costumes are in dressing room 6, you sap.
Which is why each palette is a kind of custom chosen. It's interesting because it becomes part of the art form of what type of colors you like to display. And of course, the cameras at this time were like
500 pounds.
Oh yeah, they were huge. They were loud. They were hot. You had to have crazy lighting. Like
in the first time, sound cameras, they had to put them in a booth so they wouldn't go into the sound. So the sound of the camera going.
So do you think the sound is being recorded after? It's got to be recorded after.
No, this is already 4 years into it, 5 years into it. So.
Well, right, but I'm sure that the camera itself is really loud.
Yeah, they put it in a booth. They put the camera in a booth.
Mr. Healy, I think the Venetian costumes, they're not the Venetian costumes. Those clothes belong to my children. Where did you get those clothes?
Played by Patricia.
They broke me. Come here. Where are those children? Where are those children? I was in the dressing room, Mr. Healy. The children are gone.
This is really terrible.
Yeah. So
it's much funnier with the Three Stooges.
Right.
This guy's got no charisma.
He ruined it, I think.
Yeah.
The focus goes away from him and away from Three Stooges and to him.
It's much funnier when he's not on screen. When it's just it's so funny already.
Uh-huh.
Hey, fellas, look what I found. What is it? It's a whole script of Daddy's show. What does it say? Read it. All right. Angelo, you stole my bride. Slapped me in the face. Angelo, I repeat, you stole my bride. Hey, wait a minute, I can read. 2 steps to the right. Angelo,
See, this is much better than Ted Healy.
Wait a minute. Where have you been? Where have you been? Look, you ruined my script. The show cannot go on without that script.
Don't worry,
It
Daddy.
cannot go without the script.
Don't worry, I know the script.
You know the script?
Angelo, you stole my bride.
These dynamics are like they're kind of like a little John Waters.
He doesn't have any comic
He doesn't.
take on this, and the Stooges are automatically funny.
Hurry up with those costumes. You hear me, okay? Hurry up with those costumes. My flute. I know who
So
you are.
is
The fellow with the flute.
Is this pre-code?
I know who you are.
It's right at the time.
Yeah, probably right at the time, but I don't think they did anything that was,
I'm not going to
except have 40-year-old men play as children.
What are you going to
I was watching
What are you
yeah.
going to do?
like a museum of wax, one of the wax museum ones, the pre-code version. It's very,
Oh yeah,
you know, it was done just a few months before.
women in bathtubs and things like that.
It's crazy, yeah. Because I was doing research on the early color. You know, this is the one where the proprietor ends up being a monster, you know, out the wax off the person's face. Yeah. I think that there is somewhat of like a lack of editorial control on this. It's almost like he said, "This is the script, you know, this is what I'm doing." Like you can't cut it.
He also doesn't seem to have any real comic ability.
And what else does this guy do?
He was a vaudeville comedian, and those were his Stooges. He was the star. At the time they moved this, Ted Healy was the star in vaudeville, and he hired some Stooges. People that would come and play different roles, and he'd hit them in the head. That was his entire act, punching people and slapping them around. And then when the Stooges hit on their own, they took it to an actual comic level.
What else did he do?
He just did vaudeville. I think he died in the 30s.
I mean, he doesn't look that old, right? I'm sure.
Yeah, but
Ted Healy. It's not like anything else going
I
on.
don't think he did many movies on his own after this. I think that's all he did.
Yeah, he's listed mostly as so he died in 37. Wow, he's young. He was that puts him at.
And they always put a musical number in everything. You know,
Well, early on they did because they wanted to, like, you know, this is what they could do now.
yeah.
It's just the kind of thing.
It's
Like,
just orange and black.
he was 41 when he died. Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
But he was apparently a hateful music critic.
I understand, but like,
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
like Henry Kissinger's alive. Like,
And he's a war criminal.
so, and he even did second marriages. So
What did he die of?
I'm trying to find it right now. Death.
I'm almost going to guess it's going to be a heart attack. This is like a guy that would have a heart attack.
Oh no.
Murdered by his third wife.
There is it's kind of unknown.
How he died?
Yeah. So he might have been beat to death, and the studios say heart attack, but there's other evidence.
Would he like owe money and things like that?
Yeah, all this shadiness behind it actually.
Three
He
lovely
was
women.
very much hated.
Who do you belong to?
What do you
Yeah.
belong to?
I belong to
So-
the
Yeah, despite making about $30,000 a week in modern money, he died in debt. Isn't that crazy?
Hey, come on here. What? How old are you?
I'm 35.
I'm 41.
I'm 50. Never mind.
I'm the oldest.
Like $30,000 a week. That's like $1.5 million.
Yeah. And then,
I'm
Yeah.
not talking to you.
No, that's sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Now just kiss me like this.
Get that?
He
What?
He kissed me like this.
Get that piano player that's...
Ted, he kissed me like this. Mr. Healy, you're on.
Here. You my part. How long has this been going on?
Oh, he was very generous to all his employees, supposedly.
Yeah, that's. I don't think that that's true.
Yeah. Well, I think they might have been very frivolous with his money.
Yeah.
You're right. Once
So-
an artist, always an artist. The show must go on.
No, he was in a lot of movies in the
Watch
30s.
those kids. Don't have those kids come out and ruin my act. Do you hear me? Watch those kids. Don't let them ruin my act.
And yeah, there's a number of them are lost. Probably better that way, actually,
Children,
after this point.
Letty will give you a nice clean dollar. What do you say to that?
This kind of backs up my claim that lost movies kind of are lost for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, other than these guys became stars, this movie
Right.
is terrible.
If this was it,
Yeah. No one, yeah, we wouldn't even be going all the way through at the end.
no. I mean, seeing the bi-color process is always interesting.
This short was probably just one of his vaudeville sketches.
The wedding bells will start
Do you think so?
ring, so you can hear.
Now, when they do stuff like this, it really sort of destroys the pacing of the film.
Yeah. This happens in even the Marx Brothers movies. They'd stop for a song.
We'll start to sing.
Sure, but in
Stop
like
for Kitty Carlisle can sing an operetta.
Night of the Opera,
Yeah.
the pacing keeps up during the time period. Like
Yeah.
it's like
They play the
it's
piano
fine,
or whatever.
you know.
Yeah.
But here, it's a different movie.
This was probably exactly his vaudeville show.
And,
where
unless you're trying,
there'd be some slapping around, and they'd
So-
stop and do a number.
I guess what they can do is they can try to build up the character here and say, like, you know, here's some respectable characters. But they've already established that.
And a lot of these people wanted to sing. He probably technically said, "Well, I want to sing a song."
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, as we've established, he seems like a pompous jackass.
Yeah.
Oh. The presumption is that they're still underneath.
They're showing her knees.
No, yeah, they're still underneath him.
Oh, yes, they're still underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So he set up a joke, but he didn't have to set it up that
Yeah, it doesn't have to go on this long.
Mm-hmm.
The premise of this 20 minutes.
What the heck?
Is this a segue?
Look, we have color.
The premise of this is he's doing a show, and his 3 children keep interrupting things.
What on earth? Well, not only that, but like, I think the Three Stooges were older than he was.
It could be. Well, they were certainly about the same age.
I mean, so when he made this movie, I think he's like younger than I am now. He was born in
32, and he was.
No, he was born in '96.
So he's.
So-
This is 32, so he's 36 here.
Yeah,
That's probably what they are.
yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Right. It looks like the German film Caligari in the back.
Mr. Billingham, my name is not Billingham. My name happens to be Ted Healy.
But
No.
and he doesn't even use like a different name. You know, the interesting thing is that like that joke that they set up with when they were underneath the dress, there was a lot of potential there, but they really sort of botched it. They had a lot of. I mean, it was a good setup.
They also didn't.
They could have milked it, but they didn't.
They weren't looking to move the camera and get a different angle for another joke.
Oh, that's right. What's the camera setup here?
They put it on one place.
It's mostly just a single camera.
Yeah, the camera doesn't track or.
I mean,
there certainly were 2 cameras. That was way
two
too
here.
expensive. No, the cameras moved. They
Yeah.
edited it. Yeah, no, there's
Yeah,
one camera
they did
that
multiple takes.
doesn't pan and it doesn't track.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
Okay, this is a good setup. I mean, I think that there's decent comic foundation in a lot of these things.
It was a lower bar for vaudeville.
I just think, well, no, I think that the jokes are set up right. They're just not executed well. It's one of those things where you know, I don't know, like a so and so walking into a bar, and then it's a good setup, but like,
Well, there's also
this is elaborate.
what works on stage doesn't always work if you're not seeing it live. Is this it?
What the hell was that? That's the conclusion?
That's it?
That was almost like a silent movie worth. That was so much fulfilling.
Yeah, it didn't work. It was interesting for a couple of minutes to see the 2 colors and to see that the Stooges had their act together even before they were the 3 Stooges. When they were working, when they were second bananas to him, and they were Howard, Fine, and Howard.
You know what we should do is call up Australian so you can have it back.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
This is tarnishes his reputation.
What's next week now?
I don't know.
These shows.
Yes, that's full color. Yeah.
It actually isn't. I don't think it's all orange again.
No, it's a.
Oh, there's some blue. Yeah.
There's there wasn't a story.
Yeah, there wasn't. It was probably what his act became, and they got laughs, and then they just put the camera down and they acted it out in front.
I mean, there was tension, but there wasn't any resolution.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just right. The end of the thing was, "You kids get out of here."
And it was just like people on the. I mean, the slides were really elaborate and stuff, but that's not a.
A proper Stooges short should end with the bad guy's getting married and he lifts the veil and it's curly.
Or
That's
something
the-
like that.
yeah.
You know, there's no conclusion.
Yeah. He might have been hilarious in the 1920s on the Rialto circuit.
I don't think so. And so were these things shown independently, or were they shown
No,
like
before movies.
before
Yeah.
movies?
So this would have been before an MGM movie.
Okay. Well, I guess that's fine.
I guess you didn't have to sit still. You could be out at the candy counter.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, I guess this is after they allowed alcohol back, and so you can be drunk and smoking and
Oh,
watching.
no, I don't know. What year was Prohibition?
It was after FDR came in.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
33.
FDR came in 33. This is 32.
Oh, it's
So
even
he's
more.
still
So you have to be
drinking.
sober now.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. They had a hard time back then. It was terrible.
All right.
Well, that's it. I mean,
That's it for
I
tonight.
know it's weak. I'm sorry about that. Maybe we'll do something. It's 2 bombs in a row.
Yeah.
It's okay. Thanks.